Hey, Steve, what do you think people are concerned about today?
Well, I think inflation is probably the biggest thing that people are concerned with today. I had heard that the average cost for a new vehicle is $48,000.
Thankfully, we're not looking for one.
And that tends to lead people to lease more than buy it. If you think about it, why would you buy a new vehicle when you can lease a new vehicle for $200, $300, $400 a month?
You'd probably be surprised. It's probably a lot more. We haven't looked in years, so I'm sure leasing has gone way up too. But other than that, what are some of the other concerns?
I heard groceries. When you go shopping,
my God,
groceries have gone up 8%. They're going to go up another 8% shortly.
Steve does all the grocery shopping, so I'm shocked when I go to the store and see what it costs because I couldn't even buy it. Everything's so outrageous.
Oh yeah, you do have to shop around. You do have to look for stores like Aldi that sell food at a lower cost, Lidl, and I'm sure there's many more, especially
Sam's
where
Club,
you live.
Costco.
Sam's Club, Costco, the warehouse stores. You know, you got to
Eat
look
less.
for it.
We're eating less.
Change your diet, right?
We're eating a lot less.
Change your diet.
But yeah, that gets into what I thought people are concerned about is healthcare and health issues.
Exactly. And healthcare, yeah, I mean, that's outrageous, especially when you don't know the cost of a procedure that you might need until
you get the bill.
Until you get the bill,
They often, if you ask them, they say, I don't know, there's too many insurances. We can't tell you till you get that bill.
So it's typically housing costs, living expenses, which of course groceries is part of that. You know,
if you're younger,
concerning.
like our children, daycare is a huge expense.
Daycare is, it is. And how can you survive when you're paying daycare costs?
I mean, I don't know how you can even afford to live today. Everything is outrageous.
So yeah, I mean, it is just terribly outrageous. Costs for everything.
We'll be talking about these issues and lots more on our new channel. I'm Sue.
And I'm Steve.
And we're aging joyfully.
joyfully.
We've had many, many different issues in our life. The latest one is that, did you know 1 in 3 Americans are pre-diabetic?
Wow.
And 90% are not aware of it?
Wow. Now that's a huge expense. So we're going to talk about that.
Well, we're 2 of the 90%. We did not know that we're pre-diabetic. We just
did not know.
Out.
Yeah.
That was a big shock. We did not expect that at all.
Right. And should it be a concern?
Well, we thought, wow, I mean, our cholesterol is great, blood pressure is great. So we're like, how can we be pre-diabetic? But when we analyzed the last 3 months, we had an A1C test. We realized that Steve's birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, these major holidays were in that 3 months. And that's when you give yourself that excuse that, oh, it's just one holiday.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Just one holiday. You can have that cake.
Right, you can have that cake, those
that
cupcakes,
cookie.
the cookie,
that ice cream.
the candy, the ice cream. I can celebrate.
Even though I've lost 35 pounds and you've lost
40 pounds.
We thought we'd given up so much already. We just thought those holidays and birthdays, you could do that.
Why not? Let's celebrate.
But you can't, because there's sugar in your everyday food that we were not.
You would be surprised where you can find. Did you know that there's sugar in mouthwash?
Bread.
I bet you didn't know that. Bread, yes. You have to know that carbs turn into sugars.
Sweet potatoes.
That's right.
So what are you supposed to eat? Because at this point, I'm so confused.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about eliminating sugar from our diet. And it's not just sugar that says sugar on the label. Sugar is hidden in a lot of foods under different names that you may not be familiar with.
But even things like that apple, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Even that apple has too many carbs.
That's right. It has too many carbs in it, and the sugar level is tremendous.
So I bought a blood sugar glucose monitor kit, and I'm going to show how to use it in the next video.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about some of our other health issues. We both have sleep apnea, but it's well under control, and sleep apnea does lead to diabetes. So that could be an issue as to why we are pre-diabetic, even though we thought we were really doing well.
Yeah, exactly. And then also we're going to talk about the carnivore diet and eating more meat, eggs, chiggies, and eliminating the simple carbs, the pastas, okay, and the breads.
Bread, my favorite food.
Oh,
bread.
It's my favorite
So
too.
we've got
when you smell bread, you just want to eat it.
Cereal, gone.
Cereal, gone, yeah. Introduced real butter. Wow, haven't had real butter in a long time.
So we're making a lot of changes, but they're not diets because it's a lifestyle change.
Right.
We've already exercised more for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
When I lost my 35 pounds, we had stepped up our exercise quite a bit, and I get over 10,000 steps a day. But exercise is not enough when we analyzed our diet and started really reading every label on every food that we buy.
Right. Exercise is a big part of your daily life, and it has to be part of your daily life. I mean, if you think about it, the least amount of time that you sit down or, don't move, that's what's hurting you. Okay. So you have to be up and active as much as possible. And physical exercise where you're using weights or you're using any kind of resistance to your muscles, if you're pushing or pulling with your hands or feet, that is good exercise for you. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical therapist. This is just what we have found being older.
This is our experience, which, like we always say we have more questions than answers because we've been to so many different doctors and each one has told us a different thing. I've watched so many YouTube videos and you'll find one on each side, each view. One will say, don't eat meat. One will say, eat meat.
Right.
Who knows what's right? So you have to do what's best for you.
Right.
We are not going totally carnivore, but we are increasing our meat because my last doctor said not to eat meat, but I did have a CAC heart scan and I have more plaque than somebody my age. And I barely ate meat because I never liked meat. So it got me to thinking, I love bread. If I had more plaque and never really ate much meat, was that bread and those carbs causing the plaque? Because I could live on bread alone. If I had one food to eat, it would be bread. So we're increasing our meat, but not going totally meat at this point. We don't know what we're going to do. We've changed our diet several times.
Right. And I'm sure it'll continue to change as our needs change. But we do still eat a lot of spinach and mixed vegetables in our salads. And we don't use a salad dressing. We use an oil and balsamic vinegar with some saltless spices. So we've eliminated salt pretty much from our diet, sugar pretty much from our diet.
I wouldn't say
100%.
But we had eliminated a lot before we were shocked to find out we're pre-diabetic. I had eliminated everything in coffee and tea, only having black coffee or tea with nothing added. So that was a big one. All soft drinks have been gone 1.5 years. All alcohol has been about 1.5 years.
Right.
We've eliminated, what else? But who knows? Maybe we have been pre-diabetic for years because we just switched doctors and our last doctor didn't do the A1C. So we don't know how long we have been pre-diabetic. We could have been this way for 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And we haven't had this test done in, when was it? I guess 4 years ago. We had it done when we were normal, and then we had it done just recently. So we don't know how long it's been. But the pandemic has started. That's when we started to eliminate the alcohol and the sugars. But we were still eating bread. We were still eating cereal.
Right.
We had gone to oatmeal, which I had read was the healthiest food. And then I read, no, it's not the healthiest food.
Right.
But if you eat rolled oats with chia seeds, you add fiber to it, that makes it healthier because it slows the digestion. But if you just eat oatmeal by itself, it's a carb that will turn to sugar.
Right. And so if you're looking at the ingredients in your food that you like, look at the sugar content, which in my mind should be 0. You look at your carbs minus your dietary fiber, and that's the carbs that you're left with, and that number should be in the single digits. And remember that carbs turn to sugar. in your body. And that's, you know, when you eat a really good pasta with a sauce on it, a red sauce or any kind of sauce on it, there's sugar in there. So that sauce with the sugar in it prohibits the breakdown of carbs from the pasta. And now this is what I'm saying. Unless you are very, very active and just burning calories, this can affect you in a negative way by putting on weight, by helping to clog your arteries.
Well, I get between 12 and 15,000 steps a day. You get about the same.
Right.
And I'm stagnant in losing weight. I've lost 35 pounds and can't lose anymore. And you are still losing since we're getting rid of sugar.
Right.
But I'm hoping now that we're adding more meat and getting rid of more sugar that I will lose a few more pounds. Yeah. I just haven't been able to lose them. I've had this, I lost it like 2 years ago. It's been off for a year, and I just can't get below this point, even though I do exercise a lot.
Right.
So it's got to be the diet. And I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of different theories, but some people say no carbs, some say low carbs, but we are scheduled to have another A1C mid-May. So we will know mid-May, and I'm hoping it's back to normal, because that'll be real frustrating if it's not.
Exactly.
If it's not normal after doing all this work.
Right.
But, again, with sleep apnea, it's sleep that also can cause it, even if you change your diet. I mean, I believe that you get sleep apnea first and then get overweight because you're not sleeping correctly. Most people say you get overweight first and then get sleep apnea.
Right, and that's what I would say, because I was, I guess at my peak, I was probably around 275. And that was pretty big. I was traveling a lot. I was eating in a lot of restaurants, living in hotels. And, you know, that was not a good thing. And then, you know, when I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, I denied it for a long time until Sue had a sleep test. And then I had a sleep test and found out that I had 55 episodes an hour. That means I had stopped breathing 55 times in an hour. So you could just imagine how restless your night was.
Well, that also affects your cognitive abilities.
Right.
Because you're not getting oxygen to your brain. So that could cause dementia, that could cause bone loss, that could cause sleep is the number one thing. It causes all the illnesses and conditions. But we don't want to harp on just healthcare. We want to talk about retirement.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
What we hope to
one more thing about sleep apnea. Since I got my sleep machine and my mask, and it's been how long now?
4.5 years.
4.5 years. It is so good. It is so nice to fall asleep with a mask on and sleep through the night and wake up and have a rested night's sleep. Now I may have 3 or 4 episodes an hour, which is tremendous.
I have less than 1, and I think they say up to 5 is acceptable. I have 0.6, it's usually 0.6 of 1 every hour, and Steve has 2.9 or
3. Sometimes at my peak I have 4. But.
And that's another thing we do every morning is check it. In addition to checking our blood pressure and our blood glucose, these are things that add to your morning routine, but they're important long term. I mean, it's cheaper to do these things now than to get into full-blown diabetes and have to get insulin. I mean, at first it would be a pill.
So again, we're not going to harp on health because, you know, there's more to aging than health. And I think finance is definitely a big part of it.
And actually, I feel healthier now than I felt in my 40s. I had a lot of health issues in my 40s when Steve was traveling all the time and I was home alone, raising the kids and eating out every night with the kids. I had a lot more health issues then. I mean, even though I have sleep apnea, it's almost non-existent because I have lost weight in my neck. But also, it's probably my tongue that is causing it. I just heard there's something called fat tongue that because you eat the sugar, it's getting deposited on your tongue. And hopefully getting rid of the sugar will make my tongue smaller. But the sleep apnea is totally under control. And then like I said, the pre-diabetes was a shock. I feel I have more energy and feel healthy.
Yeah. We also discovered that if you think eating out, you can eat healthy, that's a misnomer. because really in a restaurant, there is not a whole lot that you can eat that is healthy. Even if you're looking at eating that salmon, okay?
Which I ordered the salmon, and I realized they had some big
sauce on it.
That was loaded in sugar.
A big clump of butter on it, which isn't that bad for you.
Salt and sugars.
And salt.
So even though I picked the healthiest thing, the salmon and the broccoli.
Yeah, and the salad. If you get salad dressing,
Yeah, so even that had way more than the daily allotment of sugar and probably salt. So even trying to eat healthy.
Right. And there's just so much to it, and we'll get into it over different videos as time goes on.
But people always say, if you don't have health, you don't have wealth. So in order to retire, we need to get our health in control.
Right, and if you don't have health, you don't have happiness. Health, wealth, and happiness is what it's all about, right?
You can still have happiness, but you have a lot of issues.
Because you always have that health issue.
People may have health problems their whole lives, and they can still be happy. They have to choose.
You have to be happy.
Choose joy.
You have to be happy.
You
have to be happy with your health and who you are. That's a big thing. Some people are not happy with who they are. I came to grips with who I am years and years.
We're also going to talk
not going to do it.
We're also going to talk about traveling and retirement, grandchildren.
Yes.
Anything that you want to talk about.
Yeah, and you'll be able to comment on that below, and also subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.
So Steve, why are we wearing Take It Easy shirts?
Well, because we're going to end every video by saying take it easy. It's an endearing term that used to be said decades ago when people, after after being social, they would leave and say, take it easy.
Well, our parents, my parents, my father in particularly, would end every conversation with take it easy.
Okay, yeah. So my father did too. When if he was talking on the phone, which was a rare occasion, he would say, take it easy before he hung up.
And we appreciate our parents. They gave us so much so that we could have a better life than they had. And we did the same for our children. We're very family oriented. And so we wanted to remember our parents in the videos.
Yep.
So it's similar to Carol Burnett, who pulled her ear at the end of every show as a signal to her grandmother that she loved her, was thinking about her, saying goodbye. We're going to say take it easy in remembrance of our parents who have been long gone. So we have a wealth of topics. We have decluttering and minimizing and tiny homes. We've been looking into getting a tiny home for a while.
Yes.
We've been debating between traveling and getting a tiny home, because if we bought a tiny home, that would be our vacation every single time. So we're debating over that and traveling different places.
But I think scaling down, minimizing what you have is extremely important. The clutter is just overwhelming, and it's time. We have moved quite a bit over the years, and we've downsized or tried to downsize numerous times, and we've been successful in downsizing the size of our home. But it's still difficult with the amount of stuff that we have that we can live without.
Well, we usually have professional movers, so they packed and moved it. We did move ourselves the last move. We moved to be closer to our grandson when he was born.
Yep, and actually our grandson was here today, and we had a fun time.
Yes, it was fun. Yes, he's a toddler. He's 2.5. So, and then also we have the issues of millennial issues. Our daughter is considering being a boomerang and moving back in with us.
Yeah, moving back in with us, and
because of high rents.
Because of high rents, exactly. And so she has 3 big dogs that she plans to bring with her. And we have a medium-size border collie who doesn't get along with other dogs very well.
So that doesn't sound good already.
So that does not sound like it's going to work. So it'll be challenging, no doubt. But we certainly welcome, our kids if they want to move back. Let's hope the rest of them don't.
The rest of them. Well, we have all the current issues going on in our life. Inflation, the Great Recession hit us harshly.
That friend that just won't leave.
The pandemic hit us harshly because I was working in schools and kind of lost my job at the time. So we've had financial issues, health issues, but we're still remaining joyful.
You have to. You have to remain joyful. I mean, come on.
But life has changed, and we like our new life.
Yes.
Now I'm home. I'm taking care of the yard, so I'm cutting the grass. That keeps me in shape. And Steve enjoys working. Yeah. He's had the option to retire and get a tiny home, but he'd rather work than downsize to a tiny home. So we have all the current issues going on.
That's right.
Right here in our own family.
That's right. That's right. So you have to look at the gift. You have to enjoy it. You have to change with the times, and you have to move on. You got to keep yourself inspired, healthy. Okay.
We have reinvented ourselves numerous times as we've been relocated through the country, and Steve's company's restructured, and we moved, and I had different careers, and Steve's had different careers, and we're always reinventing ourselves, always having new houses, new friends, new locations. We've had to adjust. And change is tough. I always struggled to change, but living with Steve, I had to get used to change.
I like change. I appreciate change. I welcome change. Change is fun. It keeps you thinking. That's extremely important as you get older, is that you have to keep thinking. You have to keep thinking of new ways of doing things. What they say is that if you do drive to the grocery store, you drive to work or somewhere, don't always take the same route. Change your route so that you do not fall into the category of always going the same way. All right, and that helps. It opens up new synapses in your brain, and that's always a plus.
And that's another one of my biggest fears, is getting dementia. That's always been my biggest fear in life. Right. And so that's why we're always doing different things.
Exactly. And that's also, you don't want to get there. My mother had Alzheimer's in her last couple of years of life, and I saw the decline. It was not a pleasurable thing to watch, and I could just imagine the agony of people who have Alzheimer's or dementia.
What I've been seeing lately in all these YouTube videos, I mean, of course, we're not medical professionals, but I saw one yesterday that said that your blood sugar actually affects if you get it. So the fact that ours is high says that we're at more of a risk for dementia.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I never had known that.
Right.
So his mother she was very sedentary in the end. She kept to herself, so she didn't engage. Also, she didn't have hearing aids. She couldn't hear. And also that's another thing that causes dementia, is not having hearing aids.
Hearing aids definitely, or not having hearing aids, affect your cognitive ability if you need them. Right.
Everybody doesn't need them.
Exactly. I have hearing aids. You can't really tell.
He just got those recently, and I don't. But that was a big concern. So as we have these health issues, other than paying for them, we're dealing with them pretty well. It's just this huge cost of paying
it's a huge cost. What's really nice about it is not only that you can hear better, but the ones today are pretty much invisible, and you can stream music from your phone and also answer phone calls and not have to have the phone in your hand.
And you can have the TV go through your ear.
TV go through your hearing aids.
But you haven't done that yet, but you can do that, so it doesn't have to be so loud when we watch TV.
Exactly.
But so there's so many things
as you get older.
And everybody's aging. You start aging from the minute you're born. So this isn't just for older people. This could be for young people who have a grandmother, grandfather, want to know what they're going through, or what you may go through in the future. When I was young, I always looked for older people because I would talk to them about their lives and see what I was going to be going through. When I was in my 30s, I always drilled our neighbors in their 50s about retirement. We had some neighbors who retired at 55.
Right,
and
right.
I asked them how they did it, what advice they had for me, and that taught me so I could prepare for our retirement. I took notes. I mean, I listened. And so even if you're 30 or 40, I mean, you may want to know some of these things. What health issues, like the hearing issue, they say young people are going to have it much more, like that's what, 30s, 40s, 50s. They're going to have much more rates than ever because of the
AirPods, any kind of headphones.
Anything you stick in your ear causes hearing loss, and
Right.
I never liked those. My daughter gave us
AirPods.
Yeah, and they keep popping out. I guess she didn't size them or something. They kept popping out, and I was like, how am I supposed to wear these? Because they never did stay in my ears.
Right. Right.
So I never really wore them, and now I don't even know where they are.
Anytime you have audio that close to your hearing canals, it's you can risk loss.
When I was working in the schools, the kids in high school had them.
High decibel.
The high schoolers wore them all the time, and so they're saying it's going to be a crisis. So it's not just our age and beyond. Today's and I see young people getting sick, younger and younger ages, just in the news, which I don't know if that's exaggerated, but what I've seen is younger people having strokes and heart problems, and
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
and some of that has to do with the food. I mean, the food that is promoted, is not the best thing for you. Processed food, which is mostly what a lot of people eat, is not good for you.
We ate a lot of processed food.
Yeah, we did. We ate a lot of processed foods, and it was easy.
It lasted longer.
You pop it in the oven or the microwave, and it's done in no time, and it's somewhat tasty. But look at the salt content on it, the sodium content.
Well, if you have to take it to work, like I did, I mean, I would take a sandwich, because what can you take that you get 20 minutes to eat lunch? What can you take that doesn't have to be heated up? That can be eaten. I thought a sandwich was healthy.
Right. Well, peanut butter.
Or turkey sandwich. I thought turkey sandwich on wheat bread. What could be healthier?
I mean, you really have to be selective.
We're changing our diets again, so we can't give you diet advice. We can tell
we
can tell you what we're doing and see if we lose any weight. But actually, I'm not even hung up on the weight. I'm really more hung up on the blood sugar. Because my cholesterol is great. My blood pressure is great. It's just the blood sugar that is pre-diabetic,
So anytime that you hear anything that we're saying about healthy eating or healthy lifestyle or anything like that, check with your doctor. Just to be sure this is right for you, because everybody's makeup is different.
And you go to another doctor, they'll tell you something opposite. I had
five
5 different opinions when I had some heart issues.
Right.
I had 5 different opinions. I went in crying to the 5th one and said, I don't even know what to eat. He said, do not eat any meat. No meat.
Right.
And I said, well, am I not losing anything by not eating meat? Because don't my bones need the meat? He said, your heart is telling you do not eat meat. Well, now here I am adding meat, because I never liked meat and I never ate much meat. So I was thinking, how did I get plaque in my arteries if I never liked meat my whole life and barely ate any? And I ate bread all the time. So
and when we're talking about meat, it is lean meat.
It's
grass-fed, lean meat.
Only grass-fed.
Only grass-fed.
We won't. If it's grain-fed, it's the same thing as you eating the grains.
Exactly.
Our goal is to find that grass-fed, which is only one store that we found it at here. Right?
There's a couple stores. There's a couple stores that sell grass-fed.
And it's very costly, so we are eating less.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you don't eat out, if you don't eat out, and also if you save those doctor's visits, all those visits I had cost so much money. I mean, I didn't even have that. Well, I guess I did have some major testing done, but it did add up. And then your sleep machine, everything. So if you eat healthy and don't have to have those health costs, I think it's actually going to be cheaper in the long run. I mean, maybe it's more expensive to buy that food, but you're not going to get the sleep apnea, diabetes, hypertension.
Yeah, and stay out of that sedentary lifestyle. That's not good. Sitting there watching TV all day.
Or you can have a job, like I had a job sitting all day.
Yeah, or even a job, where you're sitting all day.
You had a job sitting all day when you were heavier?
Yeah, you gotta move around.
So, yeah.
You gotta move around, and just stay active with your mind and your body.
Now that we're active, we're still losing, so that's why we've got to study our diet and see what is in.
Right.
So, it should be fun. It should be interesting. We like to argue a little bit. We've been married
long
We're going
time.
on 32 years this year, and I'm having a big birthday this year, so it's a special year. That's why we're trying to get our health in shape.
Been there, done
Trying
that.
to get our health in shape before my big birthday, and before our daughter moves in with her 3 dogs, so I'll be chasing after like toddlers.
Yes, and it will be fun. Well, at some point, we'll introduce you to the dogs. They are very sweet. Although they're big, they are very sweet girls.
Because our daughter doesn't want to be on camera, and our son doesn't want to be on camera.
Exactly.
And our grandson,
well,
none of them want to be on camera.
And we don't want them to be.
Yeah, so as some people think aging is bad, you know, I've seen that this decade is actually the happiest decade.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to having my happiest decade in my life.
You start to shed some of those responsibilities, and you know, you go on living and just enjoy life. It's one time. It's not a trial. This is the real thing.
Well, that's when you didn't have to worry about your kids, but now she's moving back. We're worrying about them.
Wow.
You always worry as a mother. You always worry about your kids. But it's the happiest time because your health is the best.
Yeah.
And you may be able to travel or just, I don't know, dream about retirement. It's supposed to be the happiest decade. So we're looking forward to that and having lots of fun with this channel.
Yep, exactly. So stay tuned, check back, subscribe, follow, leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you.
So once a week, we're going to have a video every Saturday morning, and then I may make some on Friday or Sundays as bonus ones because Steve is working and he's busy. So I'll just maybe have some short ones. So until we see you again,
take it easy.